welcome back to Shemsuniverse. So today, guys, we're going to discuss the relationship between Scorpio and Aquarius. So this is a relationship that defines a lot of change. Scorpio delves deep into the emotional depths of who we are in a lot of places that we fear to go, why it governs the 8th house, house of death, taxes, rebirth, transformation. And Aquarius is all about the 11th house, which is social connections, and it's really a logical sign with a very, very different way of thinking. These are the innovators and the scientists, the reformers of the world, the revolutionaries. When we get these two together in a relationship, it makes for quite an interesting mix because these two are very much predominantly their own person. They do not really get influenced by external forces, but when they're together, this can cause a bit of a mess. With an intimate relationship, Scorpio and Aquarius are about 30% compatible. And reading a lot about it, oddly enough, they do have a lot of good things that can make the relationship work, but the components that make it not work is what makes it so difficult. Scorpio is, of course, governed by Pluto/Mars in a way, and we have Aquarius, which is governed by Uranus, and Uranus now is exalted in Scorpio. So Scorpio really brings out a lot of the Aquarius when it comes to their intellectual depth and their conversation. So these guys can have very, very in-depth conversations that will lead to even changes in our world if they were thinking that big. Scorpio is able to turn Aquarius's thoughts into tangible realities if they actually give them the chance to do so, if the Aquarius person reveres them in that way. What happens in an intimate relationship is their discussions are great, their sex is amazing, they both value freedom. So Scorpio's emotional depth that they go to is going to make them obsessively or even compulsively in love with the Aquarius person. Like I said, the Aquarius ruler is exalted in their sign, so they really adore the Aquarius. However, the Aquarius is a little bit harder to fall in love. Once the Scorpio chooses you, it's you and that's it. They're locked in. But then the Aquarius person now, it's up to them to make the choice of whether they're going to fall in love or not back. A lot of the times, the Aquarius, even though they're very logical and rational, when they feel the intense energy of the Scorpio, they can end up falling in love as well. At other times, they may not, and this can lead to a deficit. The problem is they have such a low level of trust for one another because they're both signs of change. Even though Scorpio is a fixated sign, they still have a way of changing due to the volatility of the water within them. They have an emotional volatility within them that's just interior, but if they give their trust to the Aquarius person's going to see that side of them, the side that actually goes up and down. And this can cause the Aquarius to not trust them or not view them as rational as they thought they were, especially upon first meeting them. On the other hand, the Scorpio can look at the Aquarius and think that some of their ideas might just be a bit of a fallacy. They might think that their idea are self-righteousness of the world, the way in which that Aquariuses are usually humanitarian or they're very detached. They might view that as an unattractive or even repulsive trait after a while. So they have to be very, very careful of when they really find out the inner core of each other, that they're still in love. And if you guys are not, you might as well separate, because this is a real relationship of extreme love and then extreme hate. These are not the type of people where if they break up, it's going to be, oh yeah, we're still friends, or, we kept it civil. It leads to, in the older astrology, they literally said these people will kill each other. There was even a fairy tale of Scorpio and Aquarius, if they meet in a sort of soulmate sort of thing, that they were enemies in a prior life and now they've met to kill each other in this one. It's extreme stuff. I did a lot of research on it. But realistically now, these guys, they could make for a great team and even an intimate relation, but they have to work on their trust and they have to learn to respect their partner. The best way to do this, to bridge that gap, is to go into things like competitions. Like, do sports together. Find a hobby, find a club that you guys can join, but that has a very high competitive edge to it. Not like something where you're just flying kites. Like, you need to do something where, like bowling or any sort of sport teams, like things like that. Rep basketball. All those things are going to make them more so able to look at each other and say, yeah, you're good at this, I'm good at this, and I can respect you for that. Or if you guys want, this is an intimate relation that can definitely go over to business as well, which I'm about to discuss. But you guys have to definitely be on the same page and be very, very careful. As long as you guys are able to respect each other's inner core, it can work. But if not, then separate immediately before it actually does turn ugly. Moving on to the business component. Again, it's about 35%. The only reason being is Scorpio is a very stable sign when it comes to business. They like to see things through. They're not quitters. Aquarius is definitely very good at innovating new ideas, and they're definitely pioneers in our modern world. We're in the age of Aquarius, where it's all about social connections and definitely more global awareness. However, Aquarius has a bit of a habit of going on to a thought and then just going to a next one and a next one and a next one, even though they're a fixed air sign. And because of this can definitely irritate the Scorpio person. The best business ideas for these guys to do would be like nonprofit organizations, if they got into any sort of like science lab that they were building up together, or anything like even like cryptocurrency, Bitcoin mining, Ethereum, things like that, where it's technological advancements and it's something that's going to change the world, and it's going to be more so in a revolutionary standpoint. If they're doing it for more than just the money and they're both fixated on it, then they're definitely going to get it done. But if it's something where it's just business and it just more so has to do with just making money and there's not really much emotionality into it, Aquarius will eventually fall out, or the Scorpio will just be irritated with having to keep the Aquarius on task. I'm not trying to come at the Aquarius and say you guys don't get things done. You guys definitely do. You guys are one of the most gifted, if not the most gifted genius sign across the board. However, you guys have a different way of thinking, a different way of doing things that's very nonconformist, that's very maverick in behavior. And Scorpio is not really for that. When it comes to their love and when it comes to business, they're not playing around with that. If their emotions aren't involved in something, it's completely fine. So like I said, make sure you guys are both passionate about the said business, and it can definitely work out very, very well. Last but not least, we have the friendship between these two. This is the highest, I'd say like 60% of the time. It can work. Reason being is, like I said, the trust factor will always be a bit iffy with these guys. So that's always going to be a con why even their friendship is a bit low at 60. But they can definitely have very, very good conversation. They're definitely able to flare each other up. And the Scorpio can even show the Aquarius that, hey, your ideas are tangible. Let's like actually ground them. Like really compartmentalize what you're doing and what you're thinking, and then bring it to something that you can actually see a deadline for, that you can set up a routine, where you can set up healthy habits. So the Scorpio can be a very, very healthy, not really mentor, but advisor to the Aquarius person, especially because, like I said, their ruling planet exalts in Scorpios. That's what makes them a very good match in that way, where the Scorpio can actually teach the Aquarius how to get successful in the physical realm. And the Aquarius can actually help open the Scorpio's mind to new ideas and new concepts and a different way of thinking, instead of just being in that sort of conservative way of thinking. Their emotionality is where their creativity is, but Aquarius can really enhance and just enlarge in their IQ as a whole, their intelligence, and just the way in which that they're thinking to actually make abundance, whether that be in business, whether that be in relationships, even if you're just helping them advise in that way. They're going to switch their logic and maybe make them realize that maybe what I was thinking wasn't so logical. I can do bigger, I can go better, I can do a lot more. Aside from that, that should be about it for these two. If you guys do have any questions regarding it whatsoever, just please let me know in the comments. If you disagree, I want to hear about it. Aside from that, guys, please like, subscribe, holla at me. That's it for today, guys. Peace.